Like a craft beer through a pint glass, these are the gays of our lives. A show where Lisa and Avery get out their gay decoder rings to decipher the gay alphabet and bridge the gap between the older and younger LGBTQ community and everyone fucking else. And now here are your hosts, Lisa and Avery. Don't blame them.
So this week on The Gays of Our Lives, we have a very special group of guests.
Shelly, Fitzgerld, Sophia, and Victoria. You were a counselor at Roncalli, correct?
Well, technically I'm still employed.
Oh, you still are?
I'm on, paid administrative leave for right now, so, yeah.
Because somebody dug up your marriage certificate? Is
Yeah,
that correct?
somebody found our marriage certificate and turned it in to supposedly a priest in the diocese, who then turned it in to the president of my school, who then turned it in to the archbishop and the superintendent of schools for the archdiocese.
How long ago did you guys get married?
4 years ago we got married.
That's a good question. I'm surprised she had it correct. And I'll give you a little sideline. I was reading a New York Times article about her online, and it said there was a correction at the bottom that we were not married in 2014, that we were married in 2015. And I was like, we were not married in 2015, we were married in 14. And she's like, no, gay marriage wasn't legal then. And I'm like, well, so of course I run off to my office and grab the marriage certificate. You should have looked at it when
Well, we've been together for 22 years, so I don't, not that I don't acknowledge that date, but that's not the important date to me.
Right.
No,
That's just when it became official.
Well, yeah, and 20 what years? 22, so that's 98 and lesbian years?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, no
Something
kidding.
like that. My
3 lifetimes.
Yeah, something like that.
Right.
That's, how do you make that work that long?
Well, a lot.
She already knows.
Have a child. There you go.
That's right.
Yeah.
She has a lot of patience. That's all I can say.
We're very,
Vic has a lot of patience.
We're very yin and yang.
Yeah.
So we
we
complement each other in many ways.
When did you come into this?
13 years
Yeah,
ago.
13.
2006.
2006.
Wow.
Yeah.
She was 5.5 months.
Oh,
when
wow.
we brought her home.
Fortunately, we're all she knows, so she
knows
doesn't
no
know
better.
any different.
So it's totally normal to have two
Yeah,
mothers.
it's like a normal thing for me.
I mean, how much better can you get than two mothers, though?
Yeah, right.
Not much better.
So how did all of this coming out affect you, just day to day, or did it?
I mean, it was hard, but I have these two amazing people that helped me get through it, so that was a big help
Yeah.
through the days.
Right.
And we've never really not been out. I know that there's a lot of misconception, like when you hear about, being outed and stuff like that. There's a difference between the people that you know and you love knowing about you, which is who we surround ourselves with. So, Sophie never really knew not to say things. As a matter of fact, when she was about 3, we took her to a festival, had the little rides, and we would see her, pointing over at us, and she would say things like, yeah, I have 2 moms, and then little kids would be like, cool,
Yeah.
So it wasn't,
It's still that way now.
yeah. So we didn't ever have a lot of conversations about, don't say anything to people, it was
no,
just
not at
always
all.
who we were, and at school, it was I didn't come out to students and to their parents, because as a counselor, that's not really my job, I'm
Yeah.
a listener, but most of the people at school knew, so it wasn't, we didn't,
Faculty, not students.
yeah, faculty, yeah. I've got nieces and nephews there and had cousins there, and so it wasn't as though, people didn't know. It just wasn't, it just wasn't widely talked about. So that kind of it wasn't hard for us to be out. It's different when you're out to the whole entire world,
Right.
obviously, because everywhere you go, it's not like, that you...
No subtlety to it.
Yeah, it's not usually the first thing that I would tell people.
Right.
Now, it's, everybody already knows.
Well,
So,
I don't necessarily have to tell them the first time they see me, so
right.
it just is already there. But
Yeah.
I know a lot of people from the South Side, and somebody
Yeah.
goes, no, she was my counselor, and we knew she was gay.
Yeah.
And I was like, so it wasn't really hidden,
People
per se.
just didn't care. And especially kids, and what I found out in all of this is, you know, I mean, there's a small group of people who still care, but for the majority of people, they just don't care. It's like
Once they know you, too,
yeah.
that's the big difference. It's just having that personal experience that rarely, I mean, even if someone had an opinion about you, once they meet you, it's like they might be like, yeah, I don't like gays, but I like those two gays, you know? I mean,
They're
that's
okay.
Yeah,
Well, once
yeah.
they see your heart, I think is what it is.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Well, I think if people just step back and stop sexualizing everything,
Yeah.
then it won't matter to everybody. I mean, then you just meet people as people, you know, whether they're, you know, I mean, LGBT, straight, whatever they are. I mean, like, if you get to know their heart, you know, if you just take the bedroom out of it or what you imagine it to be, which, you know, probably
It's usually not like you imagine. Lesbian bed doesn't real.
Well, and then like I had to like explain that. Is that real?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad I'm on testosterone. No, God, that was
we'll
scary
tell you
for
about this another time.
There's a 13-year-old in the room, and you said
She
that.
did. Listen.
But no, I think that's like something similar, like just kind of, I mean, it's like you said, like across the community.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like I think that's the first place people go, and like, I'm gonna
is.
tell you, growing up, I never like go up to people and I like meet them, like, what does it look like when you're,
Yeah.
like that's not a thought process.
Well, I
anymore.
mean, we don't do that to straight people,
Right,
right? I
right.
mean, because, you know, there's a lot of people I probably wouldn't be friends
Right.
with if I, you know.
Imagine what they
Like
do
my
behind
mom and dad.
closed doors. Right? Yeah, you don't.
Sorry,
That would
can't
make
be friends with
Thanksgiving
you.
so much
That's
more
fine.
comfortable.
No, but yeah, it's funny. I'm actually from the South Side, so you know, I'm from Beech Grove though.
Okay. Did you go to Beech Grove?
I went to Beech Grove
Okay.
because I'm one of the oddballs. I'm not Catholic,
Yeah.
but I've been to
Yeah.
a lot of the Catholics churches over there and stuff for friends' weddings and stuff like that. You know,
We're
but
everywhere.
yeah, on the South Side, you guys are.
Yeah.
But I mean, I loved seeing the South Side just rally.
Oh, it's
It just-
amazing.
It warmed my heart.
You know, even my dad said something about that the other day. We were talking about how, you know, I mean, Sophie, I think he was amazed because we've always lived on the north side. We have. And he was amazed, you know, when Sophie played softball or was involved in theater and stuff like that. He was just like nobody cares. Like, I coached Sophie's team and they'd come up to you after. I mean, they treat you like everybody else. And he's like, I just didn't think that you'd be treated like that on the south side. And I'm just like, I mean, but look, because like my Facebook and messages and you know, everybody who knows me, knows us is, you know, cool. I mean, there's some people who are in the middle and they're torn, and I think that whether it be about, you know, religion or, you know, their jobs being in jeopardy if they stand out and support me or whatever. I mean, I think for the most part, people are choosing the side of goodness.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So can I ask, do you go to a Catholic school?
No, I do not. I go to a public school. Where is that? Up in
Mount Vernon.
Mount Vernon. I go to Mount Vernon Middle School.
Mm-hmm.
She was in a Montessori school from age 3 to 12. And that was basically almost like a one-room classroom where it was 15 or 12 kids, first grade through sixth grade, super embracing of all kinds of diversity.
Yeah.
So when we went to Mount Vernon,
Yeah.
and Shelly especially was like, oh, I don't know how this is going to go.
Yeah.
But it again, you know, in fact, we went to the new student, like a little cookout that they had.
Yeah.
And we were standing there talking to one of her teachers, and she brings her friends over, and she goes, yeah, look, there's 2 of them.
I didn't ever. Hold on. They always say that, but I never said that.
And they're like, oh, cool. You know,
No,
again, they don't-
this is a completely new environment for me. Like, I have never taken a test until this year. I had never had homework until this year. I had never sat at an assigned seat. I had never had different lunch periods. Like,
lockers.
lockers. Don't even get me started on that. Everything was completely different.
Yeah.
Like, the friend situations, the groups of people, and I was a little nervous being like, oh shoot, this is happening. Are they going to accept my kind of family?
Yeah,
Are they not?
That's right.
What's going to happen? And they have been extremely supportive over everything that has been happening. And like
Teachers and
I
administration.
have a friend who has like 2 Shelly's Voice bracelets and then like has like beaded bracelets. She's like, I made 2 more so that they can frame them. I mean, like, it's crazy
Yeah.
how many people have
Is
been
that
so supportive.
McCourtsville?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I was one of the judges for the talent show there at the middle
Oh,
school.
really?
That was
That's
funny.
funny. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's
I
so-
think. I mean, I think that it's been a testament to, I mean, until this situation, until being put on administrative leave, I can honestly say we hadn't experienced any type of discrimination ever in our lives.
Maybe we're oblivious.
Yeah,
But
we are
we never,
oblivious.
yeah, we
I mean,
really
we're-
never. I
we're
mean, we just
fairly
lived
sheltered.
our lives, and we, just interacted with people, and never really.
I mean, from being gay to being together to our age difference to having, a daughter who's adopted from Guatemala to having two moms. I mean, it's like
We're the whole package.
we.
I like her.
I mean,
if anybody were going to discriminate against anybody, it'd be against us.
But it's funny because I have these people who are like, "Oh my God, serious, I'm getting discriminated against again," and I'm like, I have never, and I'm like the most out person there is. I mean, I'm never quiet about anything. So, but I'm like, I've never in all my years, never, and I just don't understand why. Maybe it's because we're from the South Side. I don't know. But seriously, I had a lot of friends that were, get discriminated against every day, and I'm just like, I don't get it because I have never been.
Yeah, I think
I'm
some
lucky.
of it too is, I mean, I'm not. I think that the reason we haven't been discriminated against is because we've chosen people who have been supportive. I think that when you put yourself out there a little bit more, you open yourself up. I mean, there's been some people who have said some pretty crappy things about me or about us. Not really a dig on my character, but just you deserve this kind of a thing. But I mean, not anybody that I know. And so, it's opened my eyes up to some things that, hadn't seen before. But I think the other part of it too is, you choose to look at the good stuff and the rest of it's just garbage.
and yeah, that's what we always say. Like, for every one person that doesn't like us, there's 100 people that
Literally.
do.
Yeah.
Like, literally all over
sport's
the
been-
world.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Humbling.
What do you think has been the best blessing that's come from all this?
Oh,
She smiled. Tell me about it.
yeah.
I think the biggest blessing is realizing how many people truly love you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Like,
Yeah.
really, for real love you. Not the people who say, oh, I like you, I think you're cool, but the people who go that extra mile to really show their love and support, like the kids did for her. I mean, I'm getting that from my friends, she's getting that from her friends and family. I mean, we're all getting that love, and I think it's really...
Well, not to be morbid, but I've said to Shelly more than once, it's almost like she died and she gets to see her funeral. I mean, it really is, because people are...
It's true, I guess.
But it really is, because people come out and they're more... you don't always go up to say to your friend, oh, I love you, and, I really support you, but when someone's back's against the wall, her family, although they've always been supportive and warm towards us, they really have, I think, gone out of their way now. It's like, really, it's just become a big deal for them. I mean, they're questioning their, their values with the church, being Catholic, and, they're wearing all the Shelly gear, and so it's...
putting signs up on their lockers and all that kind of stuff. And it's really...
Showing up for protests,
Yeah.
showing
Yeah.
up to events. I mean,
When that kid, the captain of the football team,
Elijah.
when that picture came out of
Oh.
him with that rainbow stuff on, I was like, never in my life would I have thought a straight, cis, gendered kid from high school
Yep.
would come out in support of the gays.
Well,
Yeah.
and he's, and he looks different than everybody else at Roncalli. I mean, he just is, again, if there were someone that could be discriminated against, and he just, all of them. And the thing about it is there were 6 kids that started the foundation, but there were hundreds of them that wanted to be a part of it. It just so happened that the Archbishop would only meet with 6 of them, and those were the 6 that were, chosen to go, and so because they're either, they're the student council presidents, or they're just, the more outspoken ones, the ones that have rallied, and it's just been, only 2 of the 6 of them were my students. And so, they just are standing up saying, hey, this isn't cool, this isn't right, and, you taught us to be loving, you taught us to be welcoming, you taught us to stand up for each other, and we're doing it. I don't think that they anticipated that it would, boomerang back at them the way that it did.
For sure.
But ultimately, in the end, if there's going to be change, it's going to start with these kids. It's going to start with that generation. I mean, not me. And now I'm just supportive of them. I mean, that's been the blessing for me.
So, what is Shelly's Voice exactly?
So they are a foundation that partnered with IYG, Indiana Youth Group, and IYG serves as their fiduciary and helping them get permits and helping them, do all different kinds of things, setting up a board. And basically what they want is to extend trying to make a change for not just me, but people who come after me. And so within the Catholic Church, but then just around, just trying to make a big catalyst for change, essentially. And so they're in their, youth of the foundation, their advocacy group. And so, the more money that they can raise, the more opportunities that they have to make a difference. And so we'll have a rally probably in the spring. They actually have a booth at the Pride festival this summer.
That's awesome.
IYG gave them a booth, and so just it's just an advocacy group to say, hey, we're not okay with this.
Because there's not any LGBTQ groups at Roncalli at all, are there?
Well, they started a support-ish group called called Encourage, I believe, and I have a hard time being critical of it, because I think that any time that you allow people who look the same, feel the same to gather in a group, there's a supportive feeling. Mm-hmm. We don't know what it looks like yet. I know the Catholic teachings still are hammering down on, being abstinent and staying single. And so if it's a support group, I don't know how supportive that is for students to have to live in an abstinent. I mean, I'm all about abstinence for youth. I think that kids should, that should be taught to kids first and foremost. I know that that's not always realistic, but I think that we need to talk about healthy relationships in general. Again, aside from sexualizing things, how to be a healthy partner, how to be a healthy friend. And if you have to say to people, you can never get married and you can never be with anybody in any kind of way, then, I don't know how that's healthy for them. If you choose abstinence and you choose a single life, if that's what it is for you, then, more power to you. But to force someone to have a single life if they want to be a part of your church, I mean, to me, I think that
it's isolating.
It's isolating, and it can increase hopelessness.
Yeah.
I just had no idea that was like the teaching of it. I had no idea.
Yeah. And they'll say that the reason that I'm being let go is because I'm married to a woman, not because I'm gay. Yeah. But essentially, I'm gay because I'm married to a woman because I'm gay.
Well, even the
definitely
option,
not the tax benefits.
The first option they offered her when she met with the principal and the president was to dissolve the marriage and accompaniment back to the church, which meant moving away from Sophie and I and, beginning her single abstinent life.
That's my question I have. Now, I'm not Catholic.
Right.
Dissolve your marriage. Sounds like divorce.
It is. Well, ironically, to them, they don't acknowledge gay marriage anyway. So, essentially...
So you just burn the piece of paper and... we can
well,
make that on film.
Like, what does it matter if you don't if you don't believe in that marriage, then who cares, right? I mean, it's like
that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't believe in unicorns, then I'm not going to let you ride mine. So
that's right.
Unicorns are very real.
Thank you. I agree.
Don't encourage her. This is a weekly thing. She's like, I saw the other day. I'm like, nothing. You saw nothing.
I don't know. I mean, I think that I'm all about sitting down and having conversations with people who are on both sides. I think that conversation is what helps bring people
absolutely
to the middle. And so I don't really know the explanation for it because I wasn't invited to sit down and talk through it. But yeah, that was the first option that they gave me. That was the option that they gave me to stay. Is to dissolve my marriage.
But only stay till the end of the year, though, right?
Well, I don't. I mean, I think that the option to dissolve my marriage and walk away from my family to get counseling to come back to the church ultimately would have been the only option for me to stay, to live single, to live abstinent.
So, Okay, and only because I'm not Catholic, so
Yeah.
I'm confused. So I thought Pope Francis was like, that's not our place to judge anymore.
Yeah.
And that's the only place I'm confused, because I kind of follow him more than I follow, I guess, all of the Catholic Church.
Notre Dame has same-sex.
Oh, so does Marion, so does Dayton, so does
But they're
Xavier,
Catholic,
so does
correct?
Creighton. All of them.
Okay, just
All of them, yeah.
didn't know if I missed something there.
So it's just like they're kind of a few
Pick and
select
choose.
holdouts then?
I don't know. I mean, I know that the Archbishop of our diocese, you know, in having conversations with him, and I respect this. He believes that the church's teachings are against gay marriage, and he is just enforcing what the teachings are. So he believes that his place is to, unless they change the church's teachings, that he has to uphold those. I think that, like, you know, like your Marians and your Notre Dames and all of those have said, you know what, if we want to be competitive to hire, you know, to continue to hire good people and welcome all kinds of people, like we say our mission is, then we have to have a place for these people, a safe place for these people. So,
But it's picking and choosing.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's unfortunately I go to church as much as I can get up and go, but for the most part I go, and you know they do. Christians pick and choose what they want to, and that's what I said. You know, it moves people away from the church
Yeah.
because these so-called Christians are spewing so much hate, and they're not really who should be spewing anything.
right.
You know, about God. For sure.
There's a lot of judgment, but I think that the other part of it is that we can't forget that, and I'm not crazy about the word ignorance, but that's what it is. It's not being educated, not being around people, you know, who you know and love. It's just being isolated, and keeping yourself in an environment that's safe for you. And I think we're all guilty of that. I mean, in some regards, you know, or one another, of who we hang around with and things like that. But the most important lesson to me is, you know, I mean, multiple times, you know, God says not to judge others. You know, that and that's what we do every day. And
I love when they pick out the Leviticus verse about homosexuality, but it also says don't cut your hair, don't and all this
don't
stuff.
Mix fabrics.
Yeah.
But
don't touch the skin of a pig on Sunday, which is football.
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh, I didn't think about that. But I'm like, how are you? You okay?
Yeah, I need water or something. I'm dying. I'm sorry.
I'm like,
I'm
how
like,
do
you
you
get
pick
through
or
this.
choose? You know, it just you're not God. You don't get to pick and choose what you want to believe. So.
Yeah.
But how have you really go ahead sit there? How have you really been affected besides seeing everybody come to bed together? I mean,
Honestly, it's not very easy.
being in the spotlight.
Oh, please.
That
is
is
not what
I'm
she
a
meant.
theater kid.
I
But,
say, I
like-
don't think that's her problem.
Yeah.
She's great.
But I think it's been kind of hard just to sometimes remember that there's so many people that care about you, because sometimes you have those days where you're like, I kind of just want to curl up in a ball and just not do
Not
anything
hear
today,
about
not
it.
hear anything.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it. And then you have the days where you're like, I'm ready for interviews. Come on, come at me. But I think it's something that we've had to kind of get used to. Where like last year, getting to go on the Ellen Show or getting a news interview was a big deal. Now it's like, we have an interview at 12, dinner at 3.
I don't feel that way at all.
But like, it's kind of been hard to like realize that this is our new normal. This is our new life. And like, the people at school like are still kind of putting together everything. Like, they don't know that, I mean, sometimes, you know that joke where everybody's like, your mom's gay. I go, my mom's gay. And I do that.
Your mom's so gay.
Yeah, right. And so
Your
that's
mom's
how
so gay, she's married to another woman.
my mom is. So that's kind of how people are starting to find out that. But I think it's kind of been easy to realize, like, this is a normal and this is a normal. Both of those are my normal,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Vic and I don't mind, talking about it. I mean, like, people are like, aren't you so sick of talking about it? And I mean, I think that people just want to know what's real and what's not, because there's a lot of it that's been cut out, or, you know. And so Vic and I don't really mind talking about it, but sometimes it's, you know, Sophie's just like, oh, like, can we
How many
not?
times
You
do we
know,
have to
so.
keep
Well, and I think
hashing?
we wanted you guys to hear more for your
Yeah.
relationship, though,
Yeah.
and how has it brought you guys closer
Yeah.
together? You guys
Oh,
think?
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
all of you, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Really,
Yeah.
it's really brought us closer together. Like all the traveling that we're doing now. I mean, we always travel together. We've always done that, but this is
Fun.
like it's kind of more fun to do it because like now that everything's kind of like stirring and everything's still kind of going, you don't really know where it's going. You could go to New York or California not knowing if somebody's going to know who you are or not.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool. It's like, I know I'm kind of cool. Like, it's just really, really, really cool.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's
So I
definitely
gotta
brought us
ask.
closer together.
Yeah.
How was going on the Ellen Show?
I wish that I could tell you I remember.
Oh no!
I mean, it was amazing. The people were amazing. She was so gracious and so kind, but like, I didn't get to meet her before I walked out on the set, and so like from the minute I walked out to the minute we
You probably blacked out.
I did
Yeah.
black out. I did,
Oh,
and I
she's
thought
right there.
watching it would like kind of be like hypnosis and bring it all back, and but it was really fun. They took great care of us.
So you guys all went. You were
Yeah,
just
we
behind the
did.
scenes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
No, they
No,
were
we
in the
were in the
audience.
audience.
Oh, you were?
Yeah,
Okay.
They
uh-huh.
can't-
We were
so-
in the second row.
Yeah, they
Right.
came with my
Michelle
parents.
was
They
there.
Okay.
came.
Oh yeah, I think I do remember seeing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Chemo brain.
It was fun. I mean, she was just. I mean, it was great.
Well, because I mean, she is the
yes.
first out
Yes.
person we basically knew. We
Yeah.
actually went to the March on Washington in '99.
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
she was there, and one of our friends that was with us actually ran into her, got to meet her then.
That's
This
awesome.
was before she came out, and now people young don't know the toaster joke even.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
What's the
fun.
toaster joke?
Yeah.
Thank you. So like when I first met her, she said something about a toaster, and I'm like, what?
So Ellen, when she came out on her, she had a sitcom.
We
She
should let
because
that.
she was a stand-up comedian.
I
Actually,
knew
her
she
new
had a
episode,
sitcom.
she
Yeah.
actually has a new stand-up out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She came out, and Melissa Etheridge. Do you know who she is?
No.
She's
Yes, you
she's
do.
another
You would
lesbian
know her.
singer,
Yeah.
and
Probably,
they had her, and the girl took her to the gay club.
Club.
Yeah. And she was asking her, okay, are you this and this? And she was checking everything off. She goes, okay, you're gay. Here's your card. And then goes, here's your toaster to her
Yeah.
friend that brought her there.
Yeah.
So the joke is when we bring a girl out of the closet,
Yeah.
or they're first,
You
we
give her
get
a
a
toaster.
toaster.
We get the toaster.
We get the toaster for
Yeah.
bringing them out.
Yeah. It's
I'm
like
on to
a-
big appliances.
it's like
It's
a-
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Again, it
My
still goes
favorite.
over my head. I thought it was like a U-Haul joke,
It was-
honestly.
yeah.
And then it's
She didn't
still.
know the U-Haul joke
Yeah.
either. So. But yeah, I mean,
She's like, teach me.
yeah.
I can see her doing comedy.
Well,
Yeah.
Sophie, when she was probably 4 or 5, she was sitting in the back of the car, and she goes, "Mom," to whatever, either one. Mom is either one of us sometimes.
We know now.
And she says, "Can I ask you a question?" And we're like, "Yeah, sure." You know, thinking, "Oh my, what's this going to be?" And she comes out and she goes, "Do you mind if I marry a boy?" And we're like,
Huh?
"No, of course not. You know, that's fine." She goes, "Yeah, I'm just not into girls the way you guys are."
She was
Oh
like
my God,
five.
that's never, but I've thought about that though.
Yeah.
It's almost like coming out as
Right.
straight.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, right.
It's
Yeah.
like in that Modern Family episode where, what's her name? Lily?
Oh,
the
yeah.
daughter, it tells Sofia Vergara's character, I can't think of her name right now. She's like, I think I'm gay. And Sofia Vergara pulls back into the driveway and is like, this is a problem. And I mean, I think that kind of like hit a flip, and it was like, okay, so that's kind of normal, so maybe kids think that that's normal, and
Yeah.
then them saying that,
Yeah.
I think it just kind of like
It's funny you
puts
came
two and two
out as
together.
straight to your
Yeah.
parents.
Yeah.
I never
Well,
would have
that's what
thought of
people-
it.
when- How did when did you know you were gay? It's like, when did you know you were straight?
Exactly.
I don't know.
I mean, but you
it's the same
actually,
thing.
in that,
verbalized it.
you know what's funny is that's the first time I've ever really, because I've said that same thing to people.
Yeah.
When did you realize you were straight?
Yeah.
And, you know,
Yeah.
but she actually had that thing. She knew there was a
Yeah.
difference. You had a
Yeah.
choice to be, I mean, not a choice. You decided when you got a little bit older what you were.
Well,
What
and
your
her
feelings
normal
are, yeah.
was to have 2 moms.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
So she
So-
wasn't sure how we'd go
Wow.
for that, but we were like, yeah.
She came, when she was about 2, she came home from school and crying. What's the matter? She said, Zach says I don't have a dad. And I said, well, you don't have a dad. You have 2 moms. You have 2 parents, you know, that love you very much. And, you know, we got past that. We went out to dinner with Zach and his parents, and I hear them, talking about it again. And Zach says, "Well, you don't have a mom, or you don't have a dad," and she says, "Well, you don't have two moms." I do have two moms. You just want what what the other person has, and
That's funny.
I do have two. And his mom said, "No, you don't have two moms. You have a mom and a dad."
We're still friends with them to this day.
I love it.
Every once in a while.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of want to know, like, so when she first comes home or calls you with this news, like, what
I
is...
can speak on that.
Oh.
Go, but you can go ahead.
Okay. Well, we were actually at
Together.
the back to school night, and Shelly had gotten a call from her principal, or she'd got an email that they wanted to meet with her at Friday after school, which is nobody wants a meeting Friday at the end of your work day.
Yeah.
And she said, and she's been thinking this was going to happen for the 15 years she's worked there. She's always thought being gay would be the problem. Well, she told her principal she was gay. Her president's a lot more conservative, and she doesn't really interact with him. So we were like, I just can't believe, she's beloved. Her whole family's beloved by Roncalli. They all went to school there. Her dad does retreats. They're really a big part of the Roncalli community.
Right.
So that night, Thursday, she's like, I think this is bad. So she talks to her principal, and he says, yeah, we want to talk to you. And I think he told you that.
He said someone had turned in my marriage certificate, and they didn't quite know what they were going to do, but they needed to talk to me about.
And I still was like, there's no way. I mean, that would be ridiculous if they did anything with her, because we knew there'd be support, not like there was, but
Right.
we knew there'd be a lot of support. And so the next day when she went in, and she called me afterwards and was crying and very upset, but she told me a little bit about the conversation. And the best part about it was, in my mind, and I'm maybe a little more vengeful or whatever, but she said to them, you're going to be sorry that you did this. People are not going to be happy. And you always think you're going to say that. No one's going to come behind you. And she thought maybe like 15, 20 people. It was a movement,
Yeah.
and that was the coolest part. It gives me chills now, because it was so neat that she knew she had the support. She's so beloved. And it just came from everywhere, and that was the amazing part.
Yeah.
So that I mean, the whole thing was shocking to me, because I just never thought she of all the people in the whole Roncalli community, they really picked the wrong person.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I got a message on Facebook from a friend I went to high school with. She goes, "You're not going to believe what Roncalli did." And I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "They fired a counselor for being gay." And I'm like, "What?" And I was on stage that night and kind of went on a rant.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine, a Bradley, works there,
Uh-huh.
and I said, "Your people did this." And she just was like, but
Yeah.
because I'm a comedian, so I was like,
Yeah.
I had a mic, so I did it.
Yeah.
But she was like blown away, and she's like, "I don't know if I'll ever give them any money again."
Yeah.
And a lot of my friends were like, "We don't know if we're going to let our kids still go there." And I'm just like, how horrible of a decision was this, and how bad is it for Roncalli? Not all Catholic, because I mean, a lot of Catholic schools still are okay with it now.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just showing that they're
Well,
not accepting
and there's a
as
lot
much.
of great people there, and a lot of
Yes.
great things that are going on there. I mean, and so
It's a great school.
and I think that that's where at places I've been torn, is because like I don't want Roncalli to suffer, because there are good things that go on
Yeah.
there. And so if good people leave that school, if the people who are accepting leave that school, what does that leave? I
Yeah.
mean, it's like if people pull their money, there's a balance. I mean, something has to make them change. They cannot continue to, get away with doing this and still get state funding. They can't do this and still, and people still pay money, and nothing will change that
Well,
way.
while colleges have that privilege
Yeah.
to offer same-sex benefits, and
Yeah.
and yet in the high school they don't think it's worth it. They don't
Yeah.
think it's worth it to keep good people like Shelly.
Are there any high schools, Catholic high schools, that do?
I don't know. Not around here. I
Well,
mean, I
no.
know there's a couple in California that have
Oh.
offered same-sex benefits, but not. I mean,
So it's at
our
the college level.
Archbishop is the head of all of our Catholic schools in
Including
Indianapolis.
Marion.
Oh,
Well, he's not the head of Marion,
No?
but they
Okay.
do. I've heard that Marion gets
so
funding
like
from
he's
the
the head
archdiocese.
Kuba.
He is.
Yes.
You don't get all
He's
that,
the one.
the ranks
Yeah,
and
he's
stuff.
the one.
Oh wow. one man.
It's just such a powerful system, and it
It
operates
is.
like completely outside of government. It just kind of shocks me.
Yeah.
And I think things like this have to happen in order for there to
Change.
be some change and some shakeup. My hope is that it stays positive because change takes a long time to happen, and change happens by building relationships. And if we're screaming at each other, nobody wants a relationship with someone that comes to the table with the intent of trying to change your mind. And so that's not who I am. That's never been who I am. I don't go around bad mouthing the people who have hurt me because I choose to be thankful for the ones who have been supportive. And frankly, I don't want that building up in myself, in my soul. It doesn't do me any good to be, vengeful or pissed off
Not
at
at
people.
And that's something that she said, like, in one of the very first interviews, and I don't even know if they put it in there, but the thing that she said is, the only reason why I would want to know who turned in my certificate is to know who I need to forgive and who I need to support, because they're probably going through something horrible and they were in a bad place and they probably just
I don't think they probably intended it for it to
Exactly.
be. Maybe they did, but I doubt that, I choose not to believe there's that kind of people in the world that they're like, yes, this is exactly what I wanted.
Right.
More than not, it's probably,
Well, and that's one thing, I'm on that group on Facebook, that page, and they're all, and they just, they're crazy. They're,
I'm not on it, so I am.
Wow. I love the sport, but
Yeah.
it's crazy. But isn't there another teacher from there getting fired?
She actually is my co-director of guidance, and they've known about her and her marriage certificate to a woman since the 2 days after this happened to me, and they didn't do anything about it. And then she filed suit recently for some other things that are going on, and she's still working there every day. So I know. Don't ask, because I don't know either.
So I don't even know what to ask.
I know.
But she and I were co-directors of guidance there.
What has she said to you? Anything?
Oh, not at all. We're friends.
Yeah.
We've been friends for a really long time. As a matter of fact, she was a teacher, and her wife was a teacher there when I went to school there. So I've been friends with them for a really long time.
Okay. So she's been in school possibly a little longer. Maybe that's why it's like I don't know. That's just so confusing to me.
doesn't make
She's
sense.
been there for 39 years.
But 15 years is...
Yeah.
It's no
Well, I've
walk
been
in
a
the
part of
park.
the community for
A lot
that
longer.
long. I went to school there, and
What year did you graduate?
91.
Oh, okay. I was 92.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of mutual friends
Yeah.
from there.
Yeah.
So, well, cool. We appreciate you coming out.
Yeah.
And
It's
because,
our pleasure.
we're really trying to bridge the gaps,
Yeah.
and we're like, we need to start with the L.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we thought, what better
Yeah.
lesbians to come on our show
Yeah,
for that, and
thanks.
so we
Yeah,
appreciate
I
it.
think getting out there and talking to the allies are really important too, because those are really the people who are going to bridge the gap for us, are the allies.
Yeah.
And when you asked about the blessings and all of this, one of it, and why it's important for me to come on here and to talk to you guys too, why I feel really so thankful for the opportunity to do that, is that I get to go out and say thank you to people who have blazed the trail before me. Ellen's a prime example.
Yeah.
This would not have been as easy as it is if those people hadn't come before me. Mm-hmm. And to be able to thank people who came before us, and in big and small ways. When you talk about you guys, for sure, you guys doing this on a national level potentially is a big deal, to say, hey, thanks for giving us the opportunity. Ellen, and not that I'm have an opportunity to thank Harvey Milk, but those kinds of people that came before us are huge. And now, you look at Tully Bevilacqua and her wife Lindsay. For people who are in the spotlight to come out and say, hey, we're just normal people, they're totally normal people.
Oh, God,
Steph White, before us, and my Aunt Mary is a product of of the 70s, and she's a lesbian who was one of the ones that were at the same time of fighting for women's rights, were fighting for gay rights as well. And to be able to go back and say, hey, you know what, you're the one that made this easy for me to do, thank you. So thank you for giving us the opportunity to come on, but not just us, but for all of the different people who have a voice and choose to use it and are really going to make a difference for her generation. And
well,
ones to come.
she's going to be one of the ones that make
Right.
the difference for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That one right there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys are such great positive figureheads for a movement like this. Like truly, like, and I know I'm sure it's from your guidance counseling background. I'm sure like it comes from how you grew up as well. But it's like truly just like interviews I've watched and things I've read. It's like you guys have been nothing but positive through the whole thing. And that's just a great way to really lead this movement. And I think I appreciate that more than anything.
Thank you. Yeah.
We truly feel that way, so it's easy.
Yeah,
it's not something
it's
we
how
have
we
to put
live.
on. Yeah,
It's not something
It's
that you just
easier.
slap on.
It's really. I mean, it's easier to live that way. It's easier to to focus on the positive than to get
Absolutely.
caught up in the minutia of the
It is
really
minutia.
bullshit.
Because
So
when you
Because,
get negative, it pulls you
Right.
down.
Like
Yeah.
I'm in acting, and I just had an audition, and when we auditioned, she was like, "This is what you're gonna do. Before you open that email, figuring out if you got it or if you didn't, set a timer for 2-3 minutes, and you're only gonna be upset for those 2 to 3 minutes, and then you're done.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Realize that's just more area for you to move forward, because you're gonna go through life and you're gonna audition and you're gonna apply for jobs, and sometimes you're not gonna get it, but there's always
Then
going to
there's
be more
something
positive
better
things
coming.
coming out of it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You find the positives.
Yeah.
Even in the worst situations, there
Yeah.
are so many blessings that come from it.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
For real. I mean,
so-
and really getting pissed off at people. It really. I mean, it doesn't impact them. It don't. I mean, it's what it's what weighs us down.
Yeah.
And,
No,
Yeah.
if you look at them with open arms and
Yep.
you're like, sorry
Yeah.
you're hurting, but hey, we're good.
Yeah,
it
right
hurts
on.
them more, I think.
Yeah,
they
right
get
on.
back at them,
Yeah.
So,
yeah, for
well,
sure.
we really appreciate it.
Yeah,
and
thanks for
thank
having
you.
us
Yeah.
on.
You got anything else?
Thank you again. No, check us out on Facebook and Instagram.
This has been Gaze of Our Lives. Make sure to check out the Gaze online at www.laughs.life. And since Lisa and Avery don't have a lot of money, this episode has been brought to you by
Hair Life CBD Dispensary. From tinctures and lotions to dry leaf, water, and even ice cream. Stop by 901 North Pennsylvania. And by Morgan & Company Designs, your one-stop shop for all your custom t-shirt needs.